Hi, my name is Tiffany Yu, and my pronouns are she, her. I was involved in a car accident when I was 9 years old, where my dad, who was driving, unfortunately passed away, and I acquired a spinal cord injury that would end up paralyzing my right arm, known as a brachial plexus injury. I also have post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, related symptoms to the car accident. In terms of how that has impacted my everyday life, I have both a disability that is visible and one that is not visible. And what's interesting is that in my work, a lot of people think that the reason why I am doing the work I do is related to my physical disability. But the reality is that a huge part of my healing process was being able to create spaces to speak more about trauma, grief, and disability. Because I have a physical manifestation of my disability, it took me a long time before I realized that what had happened to me could be traumatic. And it wasn't until I had connected with Sarah Fader from Stigma Fighters around tackling the stigma around mental illness that she labeled the car accident as trauma. And that was in 2016. And in the years that followed, it made me start to think more about how the car accident in itself had really impacted the lens through which I moved about the world. In 2017 and into 2018, I started getting very triggered by seemingly everyday things such as going to the doctor's office or making an appointment or even boarding a flight. And it took over 20 years before someone told me that I had post-traumatic stress disorder and to receive the treatment that I needed. It is hard for me to untangle my PTSD symptoms from my physical disability because they both are very tightly intertwined with each other. I can't really talk about the mental health aspect of living with a physical disability without touching on the mental illness that I live with every day. One of the conversations that I've been having a lot within the disability community is, as someone who doesn't use any assistive devices or assistive aids, it can often be felt like we are erased from the disability narrative. In many spaces, I can pass as a non-disabled person. Even as I'm recording this video, I can pass as a non-disabled person. And so it's important for me when I enter workspaces to be vocal about what I need. Oftentimes I will wear a splint around my hand so that there's a visible marker so people know that I'm not able to use my hand in the same way. But destigmatizing mental illness is also really important, and creating spaces to really embrace that. Workplaces can be more accommodating in terms of understanding that disability, trauma, and grief are some of the most human experiences, and really taking the time to get to know somebody will help tackle so much stigma and so many preconceived notions that we have about the way a person lives or what their experiences are. In terms of what I want people to know about my disability, I'm extremely proud of my disability. I have come to love the experiences that I've been through. I've come to love my body and love my disability narrative. Being well and being disabled aren't mutually exclusive. Thriving and living the best life we can and being disabled are not mutually exclusive. Just get to know who I am rather than look at the physical manifestation of my disability. And advice I'd like to give to others is that my dream is that all of us can be unapologetically ourselves. I think so much about liberation and how liberating it is for me to be able to go about the world without having to carry the weight of so much armor and hiding and covering and passing. I hope that others can join me along in their journey. I want to thank Made of Millions and Diversability for featuring my story. If you want to continue this conversation, please join our Diversability community on Facebook and introduce yourself. There are great conversations that are happening there.